have the floor, Your Holiness Pope Francis. Your Excellency, Mr. President, Your Eminence, the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar and the good esteemed people, Your Excellency, the members of the embassies, ladies and gentlemen, peace be upon you all. I'd like to thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. President, for your kind hospitality and welcomes, and for your invitation. You granted me to visit such a beloved country. Still remember your visit to Rome in 2014, and I also remember your brotherly meeting with His Holiness Pope Tewodros II in 2013, and with him and the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Dr. Ahmed Al-Taib, the last year. I'm very pleased to be here in Egypt, a land of very old civilization that till day we are very excited and thrilled of such a history that is defined ages. Such a land means a lot for the history of the humanity, and as well as the traditions of the church, not just because Pharaonic Coptic Islamic history, but also because of several patriarchs lived in Egypt. In fact, the name of Egypt has mentioned in the Holy Book, in the land of Egypt, or rather the Almighty God raised his voice and sent a message for Muslims and sent the divine recommendations, and the land of Egypt found the Holy Family, find the resort of the Christ and his Virgin Mary. Such hospitality before 2000 years lasted in the history of the humanity, of the whole humanity, which is a source of several blessings that is lasted till now. Therefore, Egypt is a land that we feel as it is our land, as you all say. Egypt is the mother of the whole world. Egypt is the mother of the universe, and in the present time, Egypt welcomes millions of refugees fleeing from several countries such as Sudan, Eritrea, Syria, and Iraq. And Egypt is trying to merge and integrate those refugees in the Egyptian society. Egypt, thanks to its unique geographic position and its history, plays a very important role in the Middle East amongst countries that are seeking very complicated and urgent solutions that are in need of an immediate treatment to avoid deterioration and deviation of a circle of a most dangerous violence dedicated to the blind violence that is the resulting of several factors and a gross desire of power, armed trafficking, serious social problems, and religious extremism that is used in the name of the divine almighty God of committing very horrible crimes. The destiny of Egypt and its duty are the reasons that paid the people to resort a country that without bread, liberty, and a social justice. Such a goal will become a tangible reality when they all united to translate words to deeds and the written laws to applicable ones, using its genuinity. Egypt, therefore, has a very unique duty that in enhancing peace and stability in the region, even though it's wounded as a result of such a violence that caused and claimed lives amongst families that they are in grief of their sons and loved ones. I constantly think of several people who sacrificed themselves in maintaining the safety of its country, the men of police, men of armed forces, citizens from the Copts who paid their lives as a result of violent deeds. I think also of killings, threats that led to the immigration of Christians in the north of Sinai. I'd like to, hence to express gratitude to civil and religious authorities and those who provided hospitality and assistance for those people who suffered a lot. I also think about the victims of attacks against the Coptic churches in this last December or last attacks in Tanta and Alexandria. I would like to send my condolences and I pray to the Almighty God to grant the speedy recovery of the wounded ones. Your Excellency, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, I have nothing but to encourage all Sikhs in enhancing the national mega project, several initiatives that have been launched for the sickness of peace domestically and internationally in order to seek development, prosperity, and peace that the Egyptian people is longing for. Development and prosperity as well as peace are the blessings that cannot be neglected, that require all sacrifices, and also goals that require constant work and a proper mechanism or methodology, and the unconditional respect of the human rights as the rights of equities, the freedom of expression and religion without any discrimination. Such goals require a very treatment of the role of women, poor, and the most vulnerable, as well as the sick people. In fact, the real development is measured by the devoted importance for the sake is of the people, for its education, for their health. In fact, the greatness of a nation is glorified by their treatment for the most vulnerable, elderly, women, the disabled, and the minority, as well as the young people, in order to have or not to have a neglected segmentation of the people that is marginalized. We are before a universal scene that is fully complicated and sophisticated. We should affirm that we cannot build a civilization without being equitable of the ideology of violence and evil, and from an extremist interpretation that is lead to neglect the other and eradicate the diversity, justify that being in the name of the divine and almighty God. You, Your Excellency, Mr. President, mentioned this several times, that require a good listening and appreciation. It is our duty as whole that we educate the new generation that the Almighty God, the creator of earth and the skies, is in no need of the human people, but it is Him, the Almighty God, that is preserving and maintaining the human being. The Almighty God isn't desiring the death of His sons, but pursue their happiness. Is never calls for violence, in the contrary, rejected. The real God advocating the unconditional tolerance, mercy, and the absolute respect for all aspects of life, and the brotherhood among the son. It is our duty to affirm that history would never be tolerate those who are speaks about equity and dividing the different ones. It is our duty to define those who are pursuing to steal the life from the simple ones and change them to be a trigger of war without giving the chance to choose freely and to believe responsibly. Your Excellency, Mr. President, a few minutes ago, you've said to me that the Almighty God is the God of freedom and liberty, and it is a fact. We should eradicate such terrorist ideologies, and we cannot combine between the real faith and violence and this and the Almighty God. Yet the history is memorizing the peacemakers, those encouragingly were struggling for a better world. I pray to the Almighty God to support those peacemakers, Egypt, who saved other peoples in the history is invited today to save such such a region from the non-existence of brotherhood and tolerance. Egypt is invited to condemn and defeat all forms of violence and terrorism. Egypt is invited to encourage peace for all hearts, for that is working for a good work and to educate humanity. Egypt, as in the meantime, is building peace, and on one hand, on the other hand, is invited to prove that the religion, to prove that the religion for the Almighty God and the nation for everybody and everyone. This was the slogan of the 23rd of July Revolution 1952, affirming that for a person to live and believe in a coexistence with the others and to respect the freedom of beliefs of everybody. A unique role is pivotal in order to enable us that it is a land of the three divine religions, is capable but should or required to raise from a darkness such values that represent the principles that is required to in building peace. From the big countries, we cannot expect the less. This year we celebrate the anniversary of 70 years on the relations of the Egypt and the divine seat. It is one of the countries that made such diplomatic relationships. Relationships were kind of full cooperation and solidarity, and we hope that my visit to enhance such a relationship. Peace is a gift of the Almighty God, and yet a fruit of the human work that should be maintained in the framework of the principle of the force of the law, but not the law or the enforcing law. Peace upon on the whole region, in particular in Palestine and Israel, and peace upon Syria, Libya, Yemen, Iraq, and South Sudan. Peace upon the whole humanity of goodwill and intention. Your Excellency, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to extend my greetings and a fatherly praise for all Egyptians that are present in such a simple existence in this hall. I'd like to extend my greetings to the sons and brothers of Christianity who are living in this country, the Orthodox Copts and the Armenian and Catholic and Protestant. I wish you may maintained by the Holy Marcus Your presence in such a land, a country, isn't a new or an Arab, but it is a historic and a part and parcel of the history of Egypt. You are a part and parcel of such a country, and you've developed throughout centuries in a very exceptional relation, a very unique takaful relation that could be emulated in other countries. You've proved and you're still proving that it is possible to live together in a framework of joint respect and takaful and find from difference source of enrichment and not a cause of disagreement. I'd like to thank you for your kind hospitality, and I pray from the Almighty God to bless the whole Egyptian and to grant Egypt peace, prosperity, development, justice, and to bless the sons of Egypt. Egyptian people is blessed as said by the Almighty God. Thank you and long live Egypt.